Well, as you know, it's our 40th anniversary. One of the goals that I want to do is do exactly what we always do, anniversary or not, which is to do new Canadian plays. And the thing I would like to celebrate next year is not so much what we've accomplished at the theatre and that my predecessors accomplished at the theatre, but I want to celebrate the audience, the donors, the supporters, the board members, the volunteers. To me, that's what we're going to celebrate next year, them. The first play of the season is The Clockmaker by Stephen Mascot. That's the first play up next season. He's written this kind of idiosyncratic, quirky, unusual plays with form and time, and it makes this sort of classic story of someone bargaining with the devil to get the woman he loves fun, inventive, and comic. Once again, we're presenting something from away. A big hit that came out of New York, The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. That's being performed by Shauna McKenna. It's a one-woman show. And it's a very beautiful story of a woman who lost both her husband and her daughter in 1 year of her life, and how she coped with that, and what magical thinking is in the act of coping with grief. It's a tale of survival, and it's an extraordinary kind of grasping of the human condition, and based on Joan Didion's real-life story. Number 3 on the season in our main space is also a very special one. In 1997, Theatre Columbus produced this play called The Attic, the Pearl, and the Three Fine Girls. And it was a story about 3 sisters coping with middle-agedness. Theatre Columbus has decided to revisit this project and see the sisters 10 years later. They have a 10-year-old or 12-year-old child now. It's a very, very funny play reflecting sort of the values of today, and great play, funny people, Jennifer Bruin, Leah Cherniak, Anne-Marie MacDonald, Elisa Palmer, and Martha Ross. Last in our main space is another play that I'm directing, which is a part of Wadj Muad's trilogy, of which Scorched, which we did a couple of years ago to great success, is Forest follows up on Scorched. In the first 2 plays of the trilogy, you have characters, young people who are sort of very concerned about their origins. And Forrest picks up on that idea of a child who has been forced to go back and look for the origins of her mother, and why her mother ended up having this very unique and bizarre physical condition. And it's like watch these plays as kind of weave between time periods as one pursues, the present pursues the past. Extra Space, there are 2 plays in our Extra Space, as typically. There's After Act Mactova by Kate Cayley, that's the second play, and Wide Awake Hearts by Brendan Gall. Both these playwrights are playwrights in residence at the Tarragon. Brendan Gall was the writer of Alias Godot, and he's written a story of romance and love and eros in the film world, and how the film world kind of the methodologies of the film world parallel a kind of unique take on romance that exists now, where we're kind of at odds with ourselves. So he's followed the film process of making a movie with 4 characters, and a writer-producer, 2 actors, and an editor who have this interwoven love life. After Act Mactova looks at the life of Anna Akhmatova, the very famous Russian poet, who wrote this great poetry, wrote this great piece called Requiem, which was really became a kind of anthem for the Russian people to survive the terrible impressions that they had been under by the communist dictatorships. It's told, however, through the eyes of her son, who is mentioned in the poem, and one feels as though Anna wrote this as much about her son who had been imprisoned in a gulag. So it's a very touching story, but it's also about a son who had a very different relationship to a famous mother. You know, I think maybe actually one of the linking things in the whole season is all the plays seem to be about trying to establish families, trying to make families, the struggle of families. You know, plays about family are really important. You know, kind of remind us of who we've come from and where we should be going, or where we'll end up. Love is a big theme in next year.